Angela!
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Okay, guys, this video looked interesting. This is actually another video from Plant, alright? He does the creepypasta stuff, and it's good. And this is another SFM creepypasta, and this is Logs from the Lookout. And this is part one of at least two that he's got. So I'm actually interested in both of these. So the other one will be coming up some other time. So let me know if you like this one, and in which case that'll hasten the other one coming out. Anyway, Logs from the Lookout, part one, SFM creepypasta by Plant. Alright, Plant only has a little over 17, he's like 17.5K subscribers. This guy deserves to have so many more, dude. He does some good-ass work. Anyway, let's get started here. Alright, and go.
When I first got the position, I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. I knew
Then why'd you apply?
Spending quite a bit of time out in the forest, and what was expected of me once I got there. However, this was a location I was unfamiliar with. And honestly, this was the first time I had done anything like this specifically. I assumed that I'd just spend a few weeks out in the woods, wander through the wilderness and admire the gorgeous surroundings, keep a vigilant eye on my little corner of the forest, and report anything that has gone awry.
No, if you're a forest ranger, you got a lot of work to do, man.
An old beat-up truck with a broken air conditioner. The perpetual jostling of uneven terrain was resulting in the onset of a migraine. The drive out
I get car sick too. I'm like, what?
We were constantly having to slow to a crawl, to edge the truck between trees and over streams.
Damn, man.
The driver
going off road.
A gruff-looking older man who had a thick
medic is gruff-looking.
He was squinting heavily despite the trees covering most of the sunlight above.
Is this the interstate?
He hardly said a word for pretty much the entire ride out here.
It's not even a road,
All
dude.
he did was listen to the same ZZ Top album on repeat for the duration. Occasionally, I'd catch him tapping his thumb on the steering wheel whenever the chorus of a song would play. By the time we had arrived at the tower, the sun was already descending. The sky was a beautiful array of pinks and oranges. I stepped outside of the truck and for the first
It's creepy
time
out there alone, dude. It's dark. Like, you can't see your hand this close in front of your face, dark.
I thanked him, and with a grotesque clearing of his throat, I drove off. Standing before the tower, I tilted my head back and stared up at it. There were maybe 5 or 6 flights of stairs encircling upwards to the top of the tower.
That's a huge
I glanced around at the immediate area and saw nothing out of the ordinary.
Trees.
Being left here alone was somewhat unsettling, but I had been working or living around the woods my entire life. I ascended the stairs to the top of the tower. A wall of glass greeted me as I passed by. Through the glass, I could see the darkened interior. I pulled out a set of keys and unlocked the door. Reaching over, I instinctively flipped the light switch on the wall, and nothing happened.
Has a generator.
Forgetting to start the generator that I had been told about beforehand, I descended the steps and located the small shack on the other side of the tower. After getting the generator up and running, I glanced up and saw the tower was now glowing after I had left the light switch on.
Oops.
The light seemed to pour out ominously like a solitary beacon in the night. I trekked back up the tower and finally took note of my temporary
getting that cardio in.
In the center was a square table with various papers stacked upon it. Also on the table was a firefighting device, used to locate and with coordination from other towers, narrow down where the fire had occurred. On the opposite side from the door was a semi-solid wall, which had various maps and papers pinned to it.
Okay.
One of the papers was a crude drawing of a family,
Aww.
presumably forgotten by one of the previous fire watchers. In the corner adjacent to the map wall was a single bunk bed, with a narrow end table at the head of the bed. Finally, the last wall contained a long shelf with a wood-burning stove and a crate of wood nearby. Underneath were numerous containers, some containing dry goods, things that keep for a long period of time. There were some bed sheets and other amenities assorted in the boxes, but most of
How long
were
you
just
out there
standard
for,
things.
though?
Also, I wasn't really planning on using the bed sheets. On the wall underneath the larger map was a rack with a shotgun resting upon it.
Trust me, you're probably gonna need
box
that.
of shells was placed on a shelf next to it. Personally, I wasn't very big on guns, but growing up around the woods, you start to appreciate their usefulness.
There you go.
Staring out of one of the windows,
Gun is not
I
a
just
toy. A gun
paused
is a
to see
tool.
blackness. The trees that swayed beneath the tower in the night looked like dark ocean waves. I sighed as my long day's journey was finally catching up to me, and it was time for me to head off to bed. I turned off the light near the door, and as I turned to head back to bed, for a split second, I saw a light in the distance.
Something out there.
If it was during the day, there was no way I would have spotted it. But with it being so dark out, it was contrasting against its backdrop.
Even the tiniest light is so visible
the light
out there.
was a dull red. And as I looked at it for a few seconds, wondering if it was a fire of some kind,
Hoovy Dundee.
the light began to move. Then a few more seconds passed,
Yep, it's Hoovy Dundee. He coming for you.
and the light stopped,
He coming for your ass.
then vanished. Confused and too tired to worry about it at the moment, I unfurled my sleeping bag and checked to make sure the tower door was secure. I crawled into bed and was dragged off to sleep by the sounds of the forest below me. The next morning when I awoke,
What?
I had a momentary lapse in memory.
Where am I?
I'd forgotten
Who
where
am
I
I?
was and how I had got there. That feeling inevitably passed after a few moments. I stood up from my bed and had gotten dressed. I looked around me and was amazed. The sight from up in this tower was something you can't find in photographs.
Yeah, that's
Gorgeous
pretty cool.
landscapes for as far as
Good
the eye
view,
could
man.
see. The lush green trees split the horizon in two, and the clear blue sky took up the rest.
It's like an ocean.
I started a small fire in the mini stove and heated up a pot of coffee. While it was coming up to temperature, I walked over to my radio system and turned it on. I picked up the receiver and called the nearby towers to check in. After a few seconds of static, a voice came through the speaker. He said his name was Peter, and he was in Tower 7. Tower 7 was within line of sight, yet still quite a distance away. I had to use my binoculars just to see the tower.
Yeah,
let
you
alone
can see
spot
pretty far.
anyone inside of it. Another
Putas.
voice chimed in, which was a woman's voice. She sounded calm and stoic. She said her name was Katie,
Fem sniper.
and that she was in Tower 9. Tower 9 butted right up against the only lake in the area. I knew where it was on the map, and when I used my binoculars to see Tower 9, it only revealed itself as a pinpoint on the horizon.
Ding!
I introduced myself to them as Luke from Lookout 8. I sort of comedically rolled the introduction off my tongue, which got a few chuckles from my faceless coworkers. We spent the morning chatting about various things, such as our past and how we had ended up all the way out in the middle of nowhere. Eventually, I decided it was time.
How'd you end up here? None of your damn business. You asked too many
It was
questions.
dark when I had gotten here and hadn't had a chance to look around yet. I stepped out of my tower and began a short walk around.
You asked too many
I
questions.
kept my personal radio on me just in case. I
Yep.
hadn't really seen the need to grab the shotgun as I wouldn't be traveling too far. As I meandered around the perimeter of the tower, I saw nothing really out of the ordinary. There was a small brook to the east.
Looks like
clearing
a
in the
puddle.
trees to the south, which had a lot of flowers laid out inside of it. It was like
neat.
something out of a woodsy picture book. Other than that, there wasn't much else going on. So I decided it was time to head back up.
What's that tall part in the back? I think that's just part of the skybox.
When I turned to make my way back to the tower,
It was
I noticed
gone.
one tree in particular that was different from the others. This one had large marks carved into it,
Uh-oh.
like some type of animal had raked its claws across it.
Something
Probably to mark its
big.
territory.
Yeah, and you're in the middle of it,
What
dude.
animal might have done such a thing.
Bears
And then
sometimes do it.
continued on my way.
Though there's tales that the
As I
Sasquatch does that
climbed
as
the
well.
stairs back into the tower,
It will mark territory with
I
claw
saw the
marks.
sun was quick on its descent. I gave my neighbors another cursory radio check and wished them both a good night. I locked the door to the tower, ate one of my survival meals, as I like to call them, and bed down for the night. That night, something strange happened. I was awoken by some feeling. Not a noise or any other physical
No.
force.
Something's
It was
watching
just
you.
something that caused my eyes to drift open. I glanced about without moving a muscle, and I spotted something off.
Something in the window.
There was a glow coming from outside of the tower,
Uh-oh.
and it seemed to be circling around it, like it was climbing the stairs. I felt panic growing in my chest as I eyed the shotgun to my left.
Yeah.
I tried to calm myself by thinking it was probably one of the other watchers who had gotten lost and saw my tower. Then, the light rose to the main level of the tower. A dull red lantern was slowly bobbing next to the window. What was carrying the lantern, I couldn't be sure. Its body seemed strange, like a man's, yet exaggerated. A long, curved spine traced the silhouette.
Oh, crap. Yeah, that ain't...
A arm clutched the lantern and held it aloft in front of it.
Nope.
It
Nope.
seemed to
Nope.
have
Nope.
long
Nope.
hair that dangled down past its shoulders. It stopped just before it reached the door of the tower. Then, it immediately turned and faced the glass, looking directly at me. I stared at it with wide eyes. Then, a few moments later, it turned and began to descend the stairs. Whether it be fear or confusion, you name it, something must have drove me back to sleep, as I found
Yeah.
myself waking up the next morning. I have no idea what that thing was.
You don't want to know.
I don't know if that was just a dream,
Itch.
or perhaps my brain using my imagination to fabricate something like that. All I know is, I'm basically stuck out here. And that was just the very first day.
You're being watched. Okay, so that was part one. That was good. I like that. And what's cool about a story like that is that could possibly be true. There's a lot of weird shit that exists in this world. I have seen my fair share of very strange things. Anyway, so yeah, definitely guys, please, I can't stress this enough. Click on the link to the original. Subscribe to Plant's channel. Come on, guys. We got to help him out. We got to at least help him out and get him to 20K. We got to help him out at least that much, guys. And definitely subscribe to me and like this video before you go. Because that was good. That was genuinely creepy. That was good. Tasty. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.